What's going on, man? It's your big brother K-Rino, man. And again, y'all are tuned in to another episode of K-Rino Radio, the YouTube version. And I'm honored, man. I'm so honored to have this brother that y'all see on this screen with me tonight, man. He's one of the hardest working brothers that I've ever encountered in all my years in the music business, man. He's a very, he got the right name, the versatile child, because he could do a little bit of everything. The music, man. He first laid his stamp out in the game back in the days with the Freestyle Kings, man. Mr. I Look Good himself, the one and only, man. Rapper, singer extraordinaire, my brother, Mr. Chalie Boy. How you feeling, family?
What's up with it, man? How you doing? Chalie Boy, 33rd Records, aka the Versatile Child, aka Mr. I Look Good, aka man, just down to do me.
Man, hey, man, you've been doing a great job of that all these years, man. We're going to get into a little bit of everything, some music stuff, man, some life stuff. It's always been a debate, I guess just among my circles and people out here talking, where you actually from, where you originate from, and what do you actually claim when it's time to represent your area on your music, man?
I'm from Hearne, Hearne, and Calvert, Texas.
Gotcha.
My parents, well, that's right down. For those that don't know where it is, it's in Texas. It's down the road from Bryan College Station. If you heading from Houston going north on, go hit 290, head north on Highway 6, you're gonna pass Navasota, Bryan College Station, then hit Hearne. Yeah. Then you're gonna hit Calvert. They about like 9 miles apart from each other on your way towards Waco and all of that.
So you just took both of them and say, hey, both of y'all coming with me. Get on my back.
Not just took both of them just to be taking both of them. I'm from both. My mother's from Hearne. My father's from Calvert. My mother was a teacher all her life, and she taught. We had a home in Calvert. She taught in Hearne. So my family on my mother's side is all from Hearne, and the majority of my dad's side is from Calvert. So I went to school in Hearne up until my freshman year in Hearne, and then I finished out my high school career in Calvert.
Man, that's beautiful, man. And I always respected you for that, because so many people, man, they if they're from a small town, they'll claim the next big city that's close to them as being their hometown. And right. The way you've always represented from where you're from, I think that, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, that always gave that area a sense of pride to say, like, man, it's one of our guys and he ain't ashamed to rep that, man.
Right. I mean, no, that's what everybody looks for. They do have a sense of pride in that. And I have a sense of pride in that for where I'm from. I'm me because of where I'm from. And I can't even lie and say that's wasn't a big obstacle starting out from doing the work and who I connected with on what we did, on why it might have taken a minute for us to get notoriety, because we had a few artists from Houston area. Then the rest were DJ Bull, my CEO. He's from Huntsville. He graduated from Sam Houston. So the majority of the crew met each other there at Sam. And so I just came from Hearne. I'm gonna run down the story to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bull and my partner Bernard, Donald Gambriel, aka Bernard, they had 2 music shops around the area. One in Huntsville, Texas, which was I think it was called the Ear Doctor, and then they established one in Bryan College Station called DJ Bull's Hip Hop Shop. And I graduated in '98. Around the year 2000, I was working on a job at a chicken plant, Sanderson Farms, and every Friday I would stop at Bernard's shop to get a rap CD, a R&B CD, and whatever other Screw or Swisher House or whatever other Screw project was out. I made sure he always showed off a Screw project, so I get 3 CDs every time I come in. Right. One day I just happened to be in the shop, and a couple of ladies from high school and everything were in the shop, and they was just, hey, we ain't seen you in a while, and they were like, man, you got to hit this song for us. So, you know, I just did it impromptu, singing the song for them, wasn't thinking nothing of it. And went by my business, got the music CD and everything. Bino was like, man, I ain't know you sang like that. I'm like, yeah, man, it is what it is. Right. And, you know, continue on by my business. I'll see you next weekend. And we had gotten cool, so he had my number, and he contacted me like, hey, man, Boo would like for you to come sing a couple hooks on a project that we're working on, mixtape we're working on. I was like, all right, cool, just let me know. Right. In between time, a couple of the artists in the group had already, you know, they had worked the shop a couple of days, you know, making a little money working in the shop. So I had met a couple of them, Sir Coop and the Rhino and Type. So when I get there, Type greets me at the door. It's kind of funny. I always mess with him about it now. They were inside working on the mixtape, and I knocked on the door. And Type answers the door, and he gives me this, what you doing here, look? You know? All right, cool. You know, like, B-Noy told me, the Bull wanted me to come sing a couple hooks, so that's what I came down here to do. He's like, all right, hold on. That hold on turned into about like close to an hour. And I was like, I didn't have nothing to do, so it wasn't bothering me. I'd either waste time at home, so I just sat there and waited. And then I finally was like, man, I'm getting ready to go. And when I got to my car, they were like, hey, come on in. Chopped it up with Boy. He was like, no, I told Noah to tell you if you wanted to, you know, drop a verse or something on the tape, you know, feel free to, because we're making the tape. And at that time, it was, oh my goodness, No Holds Barred. That was my debut on Dirty 30 Records with the Freestyle Kings. It's called No Holds Barred. And at the time, you know, I'm mostly just a singing cat. But, you know, in high school, everybody play around with the freestyles and all of that. So I had an idea about, you know, doing it. I did a few things, and they were like, whoa, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Or you want to drop something else? I was like, man, I ain't here to waste our time. No. You ain't wasting our time.
No time wasted at all.
Wasting our time, man. Feel free to jump on anything else. And I think I got on at least 3 verses on that project. And then they asked if I wanted to come back and drop something else on another tape. And it didn't take long. It didn't take, but maybe I think the 3rd mixtape, like, yeah, man, me and the group decided that we want to know if you want to be a part of it. I was like, sure. It was like, yeah, we kind of like, you ain't had no choice. You was gonna be a part of it. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. And then that's what started from there, the year 2000.
See, they talent of your magnitude, it don't take but a second to peep it. It's like, so I'm sure they like, well, hey man, they probably had a meeting before the meeting with you to say, man, we got to get this dude, man. We got to get this dude. And that kind of asked my next question, because I was going to ask you, how did all y'all come together, man? And that's a cool story. To go back before that, when did you first, because I'm sure, you know, the way you sing, I know you probably had an upbringing and singing in some form, probably had singing in your family. When did you first know yourself that, hey, man, you know, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at this. You know, whatever I'm gonna do in this music thing, I'm gonna be pretty good at it. When did you first get that?
And I can honestly tell you, K-Rino, like, I never got that. I never felt that. I to this day, I've never felt that. I know I got a presence, and I know from then to now, I've done my best to work on wherever I may lack in skill, because it's always an improving thing, always a working process. I know I got a sound. I knew I had a voice since an early age as a child, and more or less a baby, because my mama had me singing in the church as soon as I could hold a microphone. And when you know you got some type of talent, when you had that one you had those one church members that were like, all right, baby, that's nice. But then you got those other ones. I'm making sure your mama make sure you sing another song next week. I was like, I don't want to sing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ain't got no choice.
Right.
You in the choir, you gonna handle business. And my mom was a musician, so and has been a musician up until recently at our church, Olalila Missionary Baptist Church. But when you got a mama that played the piano, you got to show up at the revivals, the Wednesday Bible study, every Sunday, 3:00, whatever service. So, and you ain't got no choice in that. And so a lot of people had already heard that I was singing. They didn't know that I was Chalie Boy initially when I dropped the tape, because I never told anybody. Right. I never initially told anybody or let anybody know who I was, because the whole town was like, man, who is this dude? we had a show like actually outside of my town at a VFW, and like the whole town came out, and then I got up on stage. They were like, man, I didn't know that. Yeah. And funny part, half of them was like, man, that's Miss. They didn't even call me Chalie Boy or nothing with a hype on that. I was like, man, that's Miss Williams' son.
Yeah. Because everybody in town probably knew each other, and it was like that. Yeah. But you know, that speaks to a humility that you have always had since I've been knowing you, that you always, anytime I was around you, man, very humble brother, never full of yourself, never making yourself into something big, even though those around you knew and viewed you as being big. You know, even other artists like myself, like, you know, one of my buddies, man, one of my best buddies, I told you this a long time ago, man, that's how I got familiar with you, because when you get in his truck, at that time, that's all you gonna hear is Chalie Boy. And those mixtapes that y'all was dropping at the time, man, and I'm just listening to how explosive and dynamic you coming in. It's like, this dude, he built different. He's built different, man. He's on another level, man. When y'all started putting out the mixtapes, how did the first one do? You know, when did you get it like, okay, people eating this up? You know, when did that first come about, and how did y'all receive that?
Well, they had already been creating mixtapes before I came along. Right. So I mean, Bull was already doing his summer, spring, his version of mixtapes. He had a bunch of different mixtapes that he was already doing and introducing the rest of the group to. I came along in 2000 for No Holds Barred, and my idea of seeing an impact on fan base and listeners, it was kind of like immediately. They was like, hey, Bull, who's the new cat y'all got, man? He like, oh man, his name is Chalie Boy. I was like, yo, yeah, dude, I don't know what y'all doing, but that don't let that dude go. Right. And that was all. I was hearing a bunch of stuff like that, and I was like, oh, man, my biggest thing and overall to this day is like, man, when I got on, I wasn't expecting to getting on like that. You know, I'd put some sound out, maybe somebody would hear me singing and want me to jump on the track for them and sing something for them. Like, okay, cool. I never expected to be rapping or blending rapping and singing together. I never expected to be who I am now as this type of person. I thought I'd be a musician, like singing wise, vocalist, just mainly. And but it popped off. My overall goal was just I wanted to be heard. Like, right. See how people if people relate to what I create, if they feel how I create the music coming out of myself.
Did you ever think about if you have done this already, let me know, just a straight R&B album or album with just nothing but singing? Have you ever thought about that? See, because a lot of times it's like say people will try to and I know you've heard you compare like what Zero does and what you do, and it's similar in terms of what you said, the blending of the rapping and the singing, but y'all are different, you know. Right. Anybody who is familiar with both of you can say, no, he don't sound like Zero. Zero don't sound like him. He got his own way and he got his own way. But have you ever thought about just putting out, I'm just gonna do all album, just all singing? You ever thought about that before?
I did a project called Baby Making Music. It's been out for a while. Okay. And like my overall thing is like I'll make a project, it'll be full of rap, and then I'll have that one R&B-ish or rhythmic type song that'll be the most favorite out of them. Even though people will enjoy the whole project, I'll just drop one here and there. But I did that one on Baby Music. It all depends on how I'm feeling, how the project goes. Like I'll have my mind on doing a whole singing project, and then all the stuff just bounces in. But if I have enough material at a time before I drop something, then we're like, now we're gonna put this all together, then it'll come out. I never have any real planned out scenario of how to put a project together and put it out.
Just go with
because I look at it as it's when I listen to it, I'm not one of those that'll be like, man, everything is a hit, everything is jamming. I know when I started, and I know going through up until this point, there's some songs that are probably not the most likable. And I know I was playing and joking and trying to just, have fun with something there. So I know for sure that there's some material that's not the best, or somebody would consider, oh, that's real jamming or not. That's not the point of making music. Right. The point of making music is just making what you feel. And if it gravitates or sticks to somebody, then that's for them. Everything is not always for everybody.
Come on, man. Beautiful, beautiful words, man. The great Chalie Boy is with us right here on K-Rino Radio. And I want to ask you this too, because you mentioned all the guys that you started out with, and you named, me and Ronald, we always talk trash because he think he can hoop, but he ain't going to see me. But
I see you hoop too, so I
don't... I'm a little older now, but what how did y'all work that as a unit in terms of business-wise once y'all got rolling? Because the mixtapes wasn't selling 15, 20 copies. Y'all was moving some units, I would assume, as things got rolling. In terms of a business unit, how did y'all work that out and make that work?
Man, it was all about continuing the getting the name and the brand out there overall. Like in the beginning, everything that was coming in, we were putting it back into the company with T-shirts, flyers, posters, pictures, stickers, towels. Like we had one mind that anything, if we spend anything out of what we're creating, then we're gonna take some away. We'll be looking to be like, well, how do we do this? So it got to go back in somewhere. And if we're not right immediately taken out of our pocket right now, but we have something that's generating that money to take care of what we needed, that's what we recycle back into the business.
Right. Operating capital being generated by the product itself, man. Yeah. So when you started, because I was familiar with you by then, but next thing you know, I looked up and we wasn't just listening to mixtapes. Next thing you know, we was hearing you on the radio. So how did the transition take place from just doing the mixtapes and underground thing to all of a sudden you in heavy rotation? Explain how that transition took place, and were there any radio politics that you had to go through and just to get to that point?
The politics of music didn't really hit until I Look Good, so that was way down the road. But I was getting called and paid for features, and those artists was putting their songs out on the radio and everything, and they started getting in rotation. And I didn't have to deal with politics until I Look Good, because that was the one song. Well, actually, it was a song on our project from Freestyle Kings Off the Chain. We dropped, it was a song called A King, Candy, which we had Slim Thug on, and King, Candy, and Twinkies. It was politics, but it wasn't big politics because we weren't pushing it as a single and trying to get it really out there. It organically got to the radio, and then everybody started talking numbers or what to do here and there. But for the most part, before that, I was being heard on the features that I was doing for people. And things just started organically running together. We had a network with the radio, with the program directors, DJs, and a few A&Rs, but nothing was really set in place as far as us knowing as a whole. Because like once things started popping at a time, people started calling and doing things. But that was a lot of behind the scenes. I'm not gonna say hate. That was a lot of behind the scenes choosing not to connect the dots of people. You know what I'm saying? And which lost us a lot of traction in certain places because mainly we weren't from a city and we weren't in the city all the time to be backing and forth and with business partners or knowing who's coming into town to deal with, where we'd have somebody as a representation of us being a face in front of them. So we missed out a lot on a lot of things just for the idea of not being a city group.
Right. Right.
But as far when we got to I Look Good, it was a song that I'm not gonna lie. I told people from jump, I'm gonna hate this song. I don't hate the song because I made the song, but I knew I was gonna hate the song because this would be one of the songs that everybody's gonna hear over and over and over and over and over. It's gonna do something. And it was kind of like one of those catch-22s. I'm gonna hate it for the fact of a lot of newfound people are gonna know me off this one song and are not gonna try to go back and look at my catalog based off this song and how this song does, because they look for other types of music to be played. So it was one of those things, and it kind of felt like that in the cracks every little bit. But it didn't bother me at the end because it was like, music is music, and I can make more. If you're not on the train now, you'll come around to the tracks later.
And that's just something that any true artist is gonna feel like that. You had back catalog of work, and you probably had work that you felt like was 3,000 times better than that single. And then the way that audiences view things, they'll just latch themselves on to what's popping. So man, I Look Good, man, that's the jam, But as an artist, you like, man, hey man, it's more to me. Y'all need to come and just hear all of that. So you said that was some politics by the time you got to I Look Good. Like, did that come from just difficulties with the radio station, or was that what you were referring to about not being in the city and I guess them wanting you to kind of be available to network, whenever they may needed you to? Or was it money involved, any of that type of stuff? They tried to get y'all to pay and all that crap?
Yeah, by that time with the way everything was going in, bro, to us, it's easy to say that. Overall, it was just the general politics of radio and business. Gotcha. For your song to continue, once your song touched radio, like if you made a song right now, K-Rino, that's not dated with anything talk about fashion that could probably be old or anything, and you just spitting and it's a raw song. Mm-hmm. If it does not touch radio, it has no expiration date. Music never has an expiration date, but as far as radio, being played on the radio and being national or having an opportunity to go national, it has no expiration date. But once it touches a Radio 1 station, you now have X amount of days before this song just dies off because you're not doing anything with it. They can what's the H time they used to it was a bunch of different names for it. Pump it or dump it,
rush it or flush it.
Rush it or flush it.
All that, yeah.
All of them was for the newcomers. It wasn't even for our outcomers. It was just for newcomers in the city making a new song and trying to have something to see if it was going to have any traction and how long it would last on that until basically a month. You got a month for free promotion on the radio. Right. And once you get to the end of that month, like whether you were still on the top of the tier, they're getting rid of it so they can put something else new in because you're not doing anything with it. Once you get to that point, they were like, hey, if you want to keep this in rotation here at this station that's getting you X amount of number of spins, then it's going to have you're gonna have to talk to us about getting it adding to this program. Now, once you get there with this plan, you're hoping that the number of spins that you're getting from that amount that you put in for your promotion and everything on the station, it's picking up in the rest of the state, gaining more traction than all the other Radio 1 stations, because they're pretty much all the same. They're all connected,
Right.
but they're not. They're still, you still got to go talk to them. You still got to lay your foot and plant your seed into the ground in that area. Right. So once the other city picks it up and the other major city picks it up, now you got a whole bunch of numbers spinning. Once you get there, I don't know if I got it in the right order. You got urban, you got rhythmic, urban, and then either pop or top 20. So if your song, a rap song, is hip hop, but if it's so big, then it reaches the status on the radio level of hip hop or pop, right? Because it's so big, it's so viral. Yeah. And all of those are different program packet levels, because they're not just doing it because they like it. Now, mind you, as you're building up speed in other states with the song, it's off of love, but it's also off of putting in that financial work into it. Yeah. And who knowing who's at the time of A&R's coming in, knowing who's the right A&R to get it to the right DJs, right clubs, right colleges, right music stores to sell the single in, and all of that. And once it gets to that level of the radio, once it gets to rhythmic, now it's time to go pop. And that's money. Right. That's a lot of money you got to put in to get that steam engine rolling, especially when you're independent. Mm-hmm. So around that time is either time to be looking for somebody to get signed to sign you, or you take out a loan on a mortgage or a car note or something to get it, to keep it going. Yeah. Because that's you putting investing in yourself.
And that brings me to my next point, because you mentioned signing. So did you sign with a label, with a major at some point during that time, right? You did.
Yeah, when I Look Good got to a certain point, we signed with Battery Jive. Okay. Battery was the baby brother of Jive.
Okay, I got you. Okay. So it wasn't directly on Jive, it's just on the, like, one of the subsidiary labels. On Jive. Okay. Go ahead.
If things would have went better, possibly had the opportunity to upstream to Jive itself.
Yeah. But Jive was the father of that. So did any of those resources, did you looking at it now, are you glad you made that move, or you feel like that's a move that you didn't have to make or wouldn't have made if you had to do it all over again? Did it work out for you?
Ultimately, yeah, it worked out. Did it work out as great as I thought it would have? Nah. But it still worked out as far as the overall machine, because we still did a hell of a lot of the footwork when we got our single signed to Battery. But the connections that we made, the radio stations that we got, that we personally went to, we didn't allow them to just book, schedule, and set up everything. Because when you sign to a major, for the most part, they're going to try to lock in your whole schedule. And it won't just be for you to be doing stuff. They'll be using you as a promo prop for the next artist or the artist before them to be to ensure that artist gets what they're looking for. We can't get Chris Brown here right now, but we can get Chalie Boy on your show, on your tour, on your set for this radio station coming in for the Hot Summer Jam for 97.9 to go on for this what's called it. If we can't get this artist, we're still going to send a representative of our label or a couple of artists from our label to substantiate not having the one you want, but being a part of the label, making sure our label endorses this name by being here.
Right. So yeah, naturally, they're going to take care. The company is going to take care of itself, first and foremost.
Right.
Man,
with
great
the least finances as possible, with them having
Right.
spend as least money as possible.
And would you say that y'all's previous experience as doing it on y'all own, doing it underground, doing it independent, that was an advantage for y'all once y'all signed with the label to know how to navigate and maneuver and deal with those people y'all self,
Right.
I'm sure that was a big plus because
Right.
some artists come in so green
Yeah,
that
they tell it. I mean, we have been doing our own and booking our own and managing our own and hitting the road and going to these places and everything and knowing that because when we got I Look Good situated and they were like, yeah, we want to do it. They were like, okay, well, we feel we might need a few tweaks to the beat, to the sound, blah blah. All right, cool. And then I got that invoice. Now, mind you, I'm recording.
Yeah.
I'm recording with my same people at the studio.
Yeah.
And what we paid for the price at the studio was, oh, all right, we understand this is reasonable, blah blah. But when the label got to dealing with the studio, and the studio was like, oh,
the same one.
The same people I know I'm chopping it up with, blah blah, and handling business correctly with. Whatever you say you need for studio time for the blocks, all right, cool.
Right.
Whatever you saying you need for this part that I got to contribute because I'm doing working here and cool.
Yeah.
All deal contracts, fine. Label come in, we need this tweak, we need this block adjusted. And invoice come in, it's your, I say, woo. Nah. From here on out, the song sounds fine.
Right.
I'm not going in and readjusting nothing else. Right. They charge because they're charging me.
Yeah, that's recoupable. Yeah, that's coming back. Yeah.
But you haven't done anything.
Nothing,
you didn't pick the studio. You didn't do anything. All you're just doing, you're searching for every little possible thing that you can do that you didn't spend anything. At this time, you haven't spent a dime into me.
Right.
It's just my song Grassroots doing what it's done on us, on the back of us. But they're finding ways to take money from now that you're signed on their label and you have a bigger status type name, you can receive more money for doing shows and things like that. They're looking to take money all the time. Now, if you saw that invoice, I ain't even gonna talk about it.
Man, I can imagine, man. I mean, it's everybody, when people see the potential to get a chunk of your pie, they're gonna try to get a chunk of that pie. And unfortunately, it could be with people that you have had relationships with for the longest. You just,
and if you don't know, they not worried about if you know or not. They got in their mind, you were welcome to this business. We gonna do what we gonna do. If you sign to a label, man, don't take anything from them.
Come on, man.
I went to the label and they were like, we gonna would y'all like some music? I'm like, oh shoot, man, y'all the home Pimp C and Bun B, UGK. I could get my whole collection right. I thought about that invoice. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
No, I thought about that invoice. I'm good.
I try to tell a lot of artists about just ownership of their music and all that. So y'all have full, complete ownership of all of y'all's work, right?
Outside of I Look Good. Yes.
Outside, okay, with the label. Okay, yeah.
With the label.
Yeah. Because that's so important. A lot of things that we got important. And man, you dropping so much wisdom. It's beautiful because it's a protection. Everything you saying is as a protection to anybody who might be watching this and may end up walking down those same roads, man, to come in and have as much of yourself, to leave out of that meeting with as much as yourself as you can, know, and don't let them just strip you naked like that, man.
The main thing that information I receive from people, and I can say the same way, if your goal is to be signed if you don't have the revenue or whatever to jumpstart or catapult yourself into this and be where you want to be, knowing that you got the potential to do it, and you have something hot that they want somewhere, you are going to get the short end of the stick. The the goal is to get the least mess over that you can, because it's going to happen, because you're not prepared. You don't know the jargon, you don't know the language, you don't know the ropes, the business, you don't know who's connected to who. They're going to find some way. Like, I mean, ergo the idea of the 360 deal.
Yeah. Right.
Anything, any and everything that belongs to you, we now own a piece of it if you sign with us. But
we got these Chalie Boy pencils right here. They own a piece of that. Yeah, that's right.
But we'll turn you into a superstar. Yeah. So you just got that T-shirt from the corner store, but you put your name on it, and people buying it for $150. We want 75.
Yeah.
Like, if you want us to blow this up for X amount of years, you signing this agreement, why X amount of years, we getting that piece of that. When that contract or that time is up, we'll give you an opportunity to buy all that percentage back. Right. Or you now own it now, but you're gonna have to go through that time.
Let me ask you this on that point, because it's an alternate theory that people have. It's an alternate way that people entertain that too. When there's some people who would defend a 360 deal. Some people will say, well, I'm willing to sign this 360 deal and give them all of this in order to get my name out there. Then at the end of my term, my name will be up to where even if they keep a lot of that, I can branch off and do my own thing by myself and reap those benefits. Do you see any benefit to that, or is that like to you like, oh heck no, I still don't want to give up none of myself?
Me, as at the point of where I am and knowing the potential earning power that I generated before I got with them, and what I have after I got with them, I wouldn't say to do that, because especially now, I say no to that now, because you have, it's pretty much kind of like an even playing field without having to do all the work now that they do, because you got media platforms. Like, we got this podcast. We got stuff like this now to find someone else to sponsor and us stream it, us make the money off of this 100% and break down if, hey, Chalie, I got you on my show tonight. I know this is what I earn, and you're getting to be on the show and show off whatever you're doing. But I make 100% of this revenue, so I'm gonna give you something for being on it. That's your right, that's your choice. But it belongs to you. It doesn't belong to anybody else. You have that option, that opportunity when you do a 360, and they were like, look, everything that you made, K-Rino, we know you just made this podcast, and it's making, let's see, it's making like 15 grand per podcast that you do. We getting 6 off top of that. So you're only making 9.
Right.
And you still pay tax for the whole 15. Right. But you know what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
We not having to do no work. We basically getting free money off of you deciding to do that, when you could do that on your own.
Come on, man. Freedom. That's always been, that's a historical move that's always been made in this music industry, man. They just find new ways. They are very innovative in figuring out new ways to take out some more bread from you, man. Chalie Boy educating us, man. Let me ask you this in terms of new music. What are you working on now in terms, you got any new stuff that you coming with, or what can we expect? Because you are one of the people that I view as being a needed entity in this game, you know, with so much complaining about, man, the music ain't what it used to be, and this and that. Are you working on something new?
I'm working on a bunch of things. I haven't knocked out a personal project in a while, but I've been just compiling songs. I know that right now, saying that, people be like, man, stop sitting on stuff, put it out. It's not like I purposely done it. I've been here taking care of family. It's been a weird situation these past couple of years with everything going on, but knocking out features and doing other things of that nature. So I got material, and I'm working on putting the material out and getting it to the people.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not gonna say it sounds like new age. It probably sounds like me and my my transition style. Me, it sounds all me. I'm not trying to copy a wave, and I'm not saying it's wrong. It's anything bad with copying a wave. I just sound like me, so I'm not gonna force trying to sound like what's new to be up with it, because I don't have to. If you're doing that, then you're trying to super run the radio. You're trying to super run and get yourself deals. When just do you and own your own stuff, create content. You got stuff like creating your own podcast, TikTok, um, Instagram, Reels, and all that. Yeah, you may not own those things, but they belong to you, and you're going to get a percentage of it. The more content you put out, as well as YouTube and all these other stuff, the music platforms like Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, all of these other platforms that you register your music, you own it, you set up your publishing, your ASCAP, your BMI, you get everything registered, and before you put these songs on these platforms, now you're gonna get paid for them.
Right, no doubt. And it's just not, as an artist, it's just not an authentic thing to do, to kind of watch what the industry is doing in order to let that dictator determine what you're gonna do. Just
Right.
make your music. Just make your music from the heart and from the soul. You know, I was when you said that, it was, I was loving to hear that, because really for a dude like you was ahead of the game anyway. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like if a lot of the younger generation, if they heard your mixtapes from back in the early 2000s, they would want to quit. You know, so it's just like you just
That's a compliment, and I appreciate that.
the quality of, and the blessing of finding your identity at that early, and already knowing this is who I am. I'm not even worried about what the rest of the industry is doing. And I don't think that they factor in longevity when they
Right.
start to try to put themselves in that little cookie cutter type of world. They don't factor in longevity, man, you know. So I really appreciate you saying what you said on that note. Give them your social media and let them know how they can contact you. Do you still sell the back catalog and all? Is it a way they can get all of the
Sure
previous
do.
stuff?
Sure do. You for any booking info, you can contact my manager Brian on Instagram. He's @ B Dibbles. That's 512-731-5842. Once again, that's 512-731-5842. On Instagram, my username is D as in dog, the number 3, Chalie Boy, CHALIEBOY. For those that do not know it, it's Chalie, not Charlie.
Not Charlie. Y'all don't make that mistake, man. Man, bro, I appreciate you so much, man. You are one of the best artists, one of the most humble artists, man. Anytime that, you know, me or Murder or anybody reached out to you, man, you always come through, man. So of course, if it's anything that you think is, hey, man, K, I need you, do not hesitate, brother. You know, keep doing what you're doing, and we appreciate all the wisdom and all the art that you have blessed us with, man, and continued success to my brother, man.
And I appreciate y'all, man. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I'm in awe, and I'm honored to be able to work with you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
There's Y'all are Texas legends. There's nothing you can't knock that. You can't stop that and say that y'all are part of Texas rap culture, Texas rap history. Y'all are legends, living legends. I'm glad and honored to be able to. First off, you guys called me and talked to me about wanting me to work with you. That's an honor within itself. But that's what I'm about.
Yeah.
Like, money's gonna be made, but like, if a lot of our own state like really don't realize how much power we actually have with the state of Texas. Not on the capping note, because we are who we are. We Texas. A lot of people give us props Like you being in Houston and you being in Southport. When somebody asks you out of town where you from, if they don't know you, I'm from Texas. First thing they say is Houston.
Right.
So think about the biggest Houston artists just collabing and just doing the work with the whole state of Texas.
Yeah.
Like y'all have y'all whole own entity, just like every other city does. Imagine like when we really do that, like Pimp C said, when we all come together, don't make it about so much. It's just we attacking up front. Like, do you realize the publishing checks that come in from the songs that we do? Like on the idea of still talking about YouTube and all that. Do you know I'm like you know some artists before you that are out right now. If they drop something right now, they at least getting 1.5 million.
They gone. Yeah.
YouTube. You know, that's already you already reached the selling point or the viewpoint of viral to getting a check.
Right.
Imagine when you're doing it with somebody else that the state wants to show love. And this is just, for the most part, this is our fans in the state.
That's right.
You
can eat good just off Texas alone.
Other artists do come and eat good off Texas alone. Right. Like if you look at the build up and where your sales and where your music is being played at, a lot of that comes from Texas showing love and all of that. Like, so I got no problem doing. I don't care who reaches out to who. I got no problem with working with you. That's what I want to see. Our people want to see that. Like more Houston working with Dallas, more Dallas working with San Antonio and Austin, and blah, blah. We don't realize how much untapped potential the combinations can be.
That's right, man. That's right. And the merging of the fan bases when that happens, because they might not have knew nothing about this guy in that region, in that area of the state, and vice versa. And now they come together and now both sides know everybody. So it's just that's all I think about OG Wicked Cricket when we had these kind of conversations. That's all these talk about.
The main one that was doing it.
Right, that's right. Pushing that whole vibe. Man, so thank you again, family, man. You know, anything again you need, brother. I have all your information in the description, man. And you know, it ain't nothing but love, Charlie. You know what time it is, family. You know, I hate I missed you at my brother's spot, but you was in the booth that day, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. But I thank you again, brother. And it was an honor and a privilege having you on. Hit your family up anytime you need me, bro.
Yes, sir. Always love. Same here.
Number love. Chalie Boy, man. Y'all seen it. Y'all heard it. K-Rino Radio, man. YouTube edition. Peace and love.